There's this idea in styling that I think boils down to the element of surprise. A bunch of people have described it in many different ways. Drew Joyner made a video calling it the art of juxtaposition or creating tension in your outfits. I think that's a great way to talk about it. There are also some things that you've probably heard before, like high-low dressing, mixing high-end pieces with more casual pieces. There's the wrong shoe theory, where you wear an outfit and then instead of the shoe you might normally wear for it, you opt for something a little bit different. But all these boil down to the same idea, right? That there's something unexpected in an outfit, something a little surprising, a little eye-catching, a little interesting, and that's what can bring an outfit to the next level. I've been thinking about this idea a lot because I struggle with what I would call like rigid fashion thinking. I'm very literal when I get dressed. Where am I going? What's the weather? What's the most comfortable version of the outfit that would be appropriate to wear? There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but I really do want to use my closet to its greatest extent and not always fall back on the same easy familiars. Before we move on, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is a great tool to make your own personal website. So I want to show some examples of people who use that element of surprise to great effect, and some people who never do, but who still have amazing style. After that, I want to talk about some recent revelations that I've had, which I think will allow me to move towards incorporating these elements of surprise into my own outfits in a way that feels very natural. For me, there's one person that always comes to mind when I'm thinking about the art of the mismatch, and it's artist Bryant Giles. You can look this man up on Pinterest, and almost every one of his outfits has something surprising in it. This would be a fairly basic outfit if he wasn't wearing this fuzzy hat. It elevates it, it makes it more fun, it makes it more interesting. It's a much more memorable outfit just with the addition of that hat. But as you start to look through, you can see that he uses the same tricks sometimes over and over again. He loves a fun hat, he loves a fun shoe. There's one particular outfit I've seen in him before that I really want to talk about. Here he's wearing a bomber jacket, a cardigan, a white t-shirt, shorts, they almost look like suit shorts, and some sort of sandal, which I'm like, when I see this, I'm like, where is he going? What is he doing? What weather is it? Like, what is he dressing for? I literally have no idea. I think to me, when people talk about the thin line between genius and insanity, that's what this looks like. Because I feel like I would never in a million years put something together like this. It just would never occur to me. When I get dressed, I very much think of clothing in terms of families. And by families, really, I guess I mean aesthetics, but in my mind, it's more like a family because, there's like family trees and things can branch out and be connected. So I think of my own closet, like there's my more streetwear style clothing, there's my preppy clothing, there's even maybe like my normcore kind of clothing, my clothing that's more formal, my clothing that's more casual, whatever. So there are all these families, right? And so when I get dressed, a lot of times I think about what is in that family and I put things in the same family together. But that can create things that are a little bit rote, a little bit expected. As sort of a female counterpart, I also really like this influencer, Maina Suarez. She does a very similar thing with her outfits, where there's always something that's a little bit of a mismatch. Even this picture, you can't see the rest of the outfit. She's wearing this big orange puffer, but her hair is slicked back. It's very neatly done. She has these sort of nerdy glasses on and this button up done all the way up to the top. I don't necessarily think this is the way you have to go. It's not like you're not a creative or beautiful dresser if you're not doing this sort of mismatch style. There are some people who go all in on minimalism and do it to great effect. Marissa Martin's is one. Her stuff is very clean lines, simple colors, beautiful shapes, beautiful silhouettes, and everything is generally in the same style. This account, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but she does a couple of different styles, but usually the way she puts them together is in the same family. So this look is, I would say, very much an archive look, right? She's got YSL, she's got Yohji, she's got Prada. They're all probably from the last 20, 30, 40 years, and they all go together beautifully. But she also styled this look, which, again, very cute, but it's a little bit of a different family, right? This is sportier, it's like Y2K, it's a little bit more streetwear. And this one I really wanted to show you because I think it's brilliant. It's like elevated Disney actor on the red carpet in the 2000s. Finally, this gentleman, he doesn't even have that many followers, which is wild because I think his outfits are amazing. He does real beautiful, classic Japanese Americana. The interesting thing I think about his style is that it is originally a mismatch, right? You're taking elements from a couple of different things. So here, let's say we have military surplus, we have hiking, we have a little bit more of a classic British feel on top with the tie and the button down, and then we have the canvas bag and the canvas baseball cap. However, I think because the style has now been around for so many years, I don't know if it really counts as a mismatch. Like when I see these items, everything feels very much of the same family. In a weird way, I feel like the same thing was happening to bloquette. Do you remember bloquette when girls were wearing like their hair in cute scrunchies and a slick back with jerseys and then a cute skirt? Yeah, like originally I think that did feel like a mismatch. There was a lot of surprise there. You're like, oh, these things don't normally go together. But now when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's bloquette. So it's lost that element of surprise. Okay, so here's the general statement I'm going to make after we've looked at all these examples. Fashion is obviously subjective, it's not objective. But the way I've been thinking about it is something they say in cooking shows a lot. If you watch competitive cooking shows, which I do, they say if you're going to make a classic dish, it has to be perfect because you're comparing it to every other dish that you've tried in that style because you've had that dish before. So you're comparing it to those dishes and it needs to be the best version of that dish you've ever had. When a chef, on the other hand, tries something new, tries something creative, tries to create something totally original, they have a little bit more wiggle room because it still needs to be good, obviously, but because there's not as much that you can compare it to, you're really just basing it off of its own merit. That's sort of how I've been thinking about style recently, where if you're doing minimalism, it has to be the most gorgeous minimalism I've ever seen, right? For it to really make an impact. If we're talking about big impact. In order for it to make a big impact, it has to be, the top of the top. Because yeah, I've seen minimalism before. If you're doing Americana, sure, I've seen Americana before. So I need to see it in a way that is so well done. Or if you want to go for something a little bit more out of the box, because it's singular, because it's a little bit more individual, I think it's not comparable. So I think in some ways it's easier to make an impact that way. This is just about like stepping up your game. Obviously, for most people in the world, none of this matters because we're not in a competition, as I have to keep telling myself. We're not in a cooking show. There is no, $300,000 that they're going to give to you at the end of this. But because this is my hobby, I have been thinking about how I can push the boundaries of my own styling a little bit. What I've decided recently is that I actually don't need to push myself. Well, in some ways I do. I don't need to try harder. I actually need to get lazier. I will explain what I mean in a second. Now I need to talk to you about Squarespace. I have a Squarespace website. I personally use it as essentially a standing resume, a place where people can learn about the work I do. They can find my social media links, they can see the production work that I have done, and they can find a contact page to get in touch. My career has gone through a number of different changes, and I made my Squarespace page when I was just working in podcast production. However, since I've diversified what I do for work, my Squarespace website has changed with me. I've been doing more and more personalized styling services, so I added a service product page directly to my website, and I can use Squarespace's payment tools to get paid directly when people book a session. You can set it up so customers have the option to pay the way they're used to, through credit card, Apple Pay, or Klarna. Recently, Squarespace has done an amazing job integrating these AI tools into their website building process. Their design intelligence suite includes something called Blueprint AI, which takes you through a sort of AI questionnaire and practically builds your website for you. If you'd like to check any of that out, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, make sure to go to www.squarespace.com/Persia to save 10% off your first website or domain. In a weird way, this is the image that changed everything for me. It's an old image. It's pretty iconic. It's of Kate Moss wearing these rain boots at Glastonbury. As you can see in the image, everyone's wearing rain boots because the ground is covered in mud. Obviously, what makes it iconic is that she, instead of maybe wearing the things that you would associate with wearing rain boots, like long pants or a sweater or a raincoat even, she is wearing this glitzy little party dress with a fun belt and a little boho bag. The reason this photo popped up for me is because I was watching a video on TikTok. I wish I could find the creator. If anyone knows which video I'm talking about, please let me know. But they were saying essentially that we shouldn't be copying celebrities' outfits piece by piece, because the reason that Kate Moss is wearing this party dress and these galoshes is because she needed to. This is actually what the event called for. You're at a music festival, so you want to wear something cute, you want to wear something fun, but the ground is a muddy mess, so she had to wear these big rain boots. It's really perfectly logical what she's doing. But for someone else to go out and be like, oh, I think this is a great look, I'm gonna wear my huge rain boots with my little dress, it doesn't make as much sense. But that just sort of planted the seed, that picture of Kate Moss. Then I was looking at Taylor Russell's street style. I saw a sort of compilation image of all her looks, and I was like, wow, this is really cute. I was looking at a little bit more in depth at a couple of them. She's wearing this long brown wool coat, a hoodie, a hat, sunglasses, sneakers, and it looks like leggings and a leather bag. It might be a La Mer leather bag. I'm not sure. She seems to just be walking her dog. But I was kind of like, I would never. I would just like never. I would never. Why would I put that outfit together? What would compel me to wear that outfit? And then, I kid you not, 3 or 4 days ago, I was going to my Muay Thai class, and it was really chilly that night. And I was wearing my running sneakers, my leggings, my whole little outfit. I threw a hoodie on for warmth, but then I was like, oh, I'm going to need something else. And I was looking through my coat rack. I wanted something long to cover my legs. And also, I don't really love wearing leggings outside. I don't know if it's just the way I was raised, but I feel a little bit vulnerable with just wearing leggings, walking around in the street. Anyway, so I was like, let's get a long coat. And I have a long puffer, but it's still sort of in storage from last winter. And I was feeling lazy. I was like, I don't want to go out and get my long puffer. So I just grabbed one of my wool coats. I put it on and I ran out the door with my little backpack. And then it occurred to me, I was like, oh, this is how this happens. It happens when you have to run out the door and you grab the first coat that's on the rack that works for your situation and you leave the house. And that's what really led me to this light bulb moment, which is I actually don't need to be doing more. I need to be doing less. I need to just let things happen and not try to fix the styling, but let the styling happen. Finally, when I came to that conclusion, it actually reminded me of a series of TikToks that I had seen by Amy Smilovic, who's the founder of Tibi. I'm not really a Tibi girl. I know some people are diehard Tibi fans. I'm not against it. I just don't own any of the pieces. I don't know that much. I'm not that familiar with the brand. But I do like Amy's online presence a lot. I think she makes interesting videos. And the little series she was doing a couple months ago was about this idea of the bifurcated closet. And she was against it. She was like, don't have a bifurcated closet. And what she meant by that actually is that we shouldn't just think that certain clothes are for certain situations and then only use them in those situations. Let's say you like going hiking. So you have clothes for hiking. You still go to the gym. You have your gym clothes and you work in an office. So you have clothes that you work in and then you are casual on the weekend. So you have your weekend clothes. That's more than a bifurcated closet because bi means two, but that's like a quadricated closet, whatever. So the idea is that you have your clothes that you think are only for one situation and you only wear them in that situation. She's like, don't do that. Wear your clothes. Like, give your clothes almost the respect they deserve to wear them whenever. She's essentially like, you're going to your bar class. It seems like she goes to a lot of bar classes because she was using that example a lot. And she's like, when you get to the class, you're going to wear your basic just tank top and leggings, and I don't know if you have to wear ballet shoes to a bar class or whatever. But you're not wearing your ballet shoes in the street. So she's like, yeah, on your way to your bar class, you can wear a fun sandal and a blazer and a sweater tied around your neck like a scarf. Why do you need to wear sporty clothes over your other sporty clothes? Because you don't necessarily need them for the activity you're going to. And I don't think that really sunk in the first time I watched the videos, but now that I'm weirdly living it all of a sudden, I was like, she's right. Why does it have to all match? It doesn't inherently need to. Another small thing that happened to me recently, which, I'm just this is like my process. I'm like accepting the mistakes in my life rather than trying to fix them. So then recently I was getting dressed to just like run around, do errands all day. My first thought was, what's comfortable to run around and do errands in? I put on my Asics and then I did some sort of baggy, loose jeans. From that, I was like, okay, what goes with that? Obviously, just a white t-shirt. This is what I'm saying. I'm just like, and then the white t-shirt. And then on top of that, I was like, I need something warm, but I don't know how warm it's going to be. So I wanted a jacket. So I wore my wool, sort of like a varsity jacket, and my green hat. This is a classic color combination for me, right? Navy, blue, white, green hat. My shoes are kind of silver, kind of gray. Pretty one note. I mean, it's still fun and I still like it. And then when I was running out the door, I was like, oh, I really need a big bag. I have a lot of stuff I have to carry. I need a big bag. And the last big bag that I had used the day before in a totally different outfit still had like my wallet or my keys or whatever in it. So I just grabbed that, and it's like a bag that my mom gave me a while ago. It's huge. It's pretty comfortable to wear. It fits a lot, but it doesn't necessarily go with that outfit. If I was trying to pick a bag that really went with that outfit, I would probably take a tote. I would take my little everybody.world tote because that sort of fits in with the outfit. But because of the demands of time and, necessity, I needed a big bag. I don't really love carrying a backpack. I grabbed that instead. And that was the unexpected element. So again, instead of being like, oh, maybe I'll take 2 tote bags or whatever to fit all the stuff I need to bring because that would go better with the outfit, I was just like, no, I'm just going to bring this big ass rainbow bag. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to let loose and not try to fix what in my mind is a styling error, but instead just sort of go with what's working in the moment and not think too hard about it. I'm just, I'm a little bit, it's funny, I'm a very controlled person. I want things to have sort of logic and reason to it just because it makes me feel calm, if that makes sense. I'm like, these things match, so I know they go together, so there's no uncertainty, so that I've controlled the situation. And that is obviously not how the world works, not how life works. And you need to accept that some things are outside of our control. This is getting into a longer sort of therapy theme here. But I do think this is important, that not everything needs to go precisely together. Not everything needs to match. And sometimes those sort of surprises are the best. So that's what I've been thinking about. Let me know if you guys agree, if you guys disagree, if you've been doing similar things, if you're as uptight with your clothing as I can be. I would love to hear about it, and thank you so much.